Isn't it beautiful to be able to just breathe? You don't really need to see me on the other side of the screen. You need to see you. You need to be with me. You need to just be. You know, in this beautiful moment of presence, when we can fully understand that we're perfectly imperfect and perfection just doesn't exist. We can dream of it. We can desire it. We can want it. But we're in a world that's perfectly imperfect. And that's the blessing that's been given to us by the divine. Just be. I thought I'd save you a space where you can come sit and enjoy the fire and the sounds and the frequency of nature and water and life. You know, this living in frequent evolution in a world that's filled with chaos and so many other words that we could use. And yet the real beauty is within you. Even though there's so much beauty around us. I'm fortunate to have this. But it's not something that was given. It was something that was built. Just like we build that of heart. Just like that we build that of love and acceptance and, you know, this aspect to have perfection. And yet, this is nature. It's perfectly imperfect. It's ever evolving, ever changing. It's alive. It's not stagnant. It's filled with so much life that we fall short upon, that we don't see. We search for 1,000 different directions. We search for reason and purpose. We search to be worthy and loved and love in exchange. And then we find that solitude is filled with love, because the only person you have to love is yourself. The truth of it at the end of the day is the love that you feel of self. As much as somebody that can say to you, I love you, or I adore you, when you close your eyes, you're only with you. The physical presence of maybe another is beside you. Maybe that feels a desire and a need and a wanting. But your heart, it may have the comfort of the other in presence, but it has the beauty of self within. This ability to look at yourself and say, I am worthy. I do deserve to love and be loved. And I deserve to make my mistakes. Somebody will say, well, how do you deserve to make your mistakes? How do you learn? We learn not just from what others teach us. We learn from what we teach ourselves. By the choices that we choose to engage in and also disengage in. I look at today and the day before and I say, why am I looking so much at the day before? Well, actually I'm looking at a couple of days before because I broke a toe. That hurts. Believe me, it hurts. But I also have the ability to allow myself to heal myself. I understand the elements of nature. I understand the elements of essential oils and, you know, phytotherapy and aromatherapies, all of which is graciously given to me and allowed to be given to me by Gaia, by the earth. You know, this beautiful mother that we walk upon. she is so powerful, and we don't give her the credit about how powerful she really is. We disrespect her and disregard her and keep doing the same shit that we do every day of the week. And then we ask the question, why? We look at the skies and we look at the planes blowing smoke that they shouldn't be blowing, and we ask the question, why? But we're not doing anything about it. We protest discrimination, wars, killings, abuse, cultural decimations. We protest against everything except for the reality of what's before us. And rather than protest, what are we doing? Holding up a sign and screaming and hollering and, trying to be peaceful in our movements, but we're fighting up against a system that doesn't have peace, doesn't believe in peace, believes in control and corruption. And so we're in a world that's created by humankind that's filled with corruption and control. In a perfectly imperfect world. Yet, does perfection exist? When I look at a rose, I say it's perfect. Even as it changes, I still see it's perfect. I see it as its petals dry out and fall to the ground. It's still perfect. It's evolved and changed. And it's returned back to the earth. It's returned back to its mother, this beautiful mother that we walk upon. All that we need is all that is before us. The air we breathe, water, lands. These are the fundamental rights as your freedom governs you to have. But when we take freedom and we use it wrongly, it's no longer freedom. It becomes a hindrance and burden, because we've changed everything. We've taken the idea of freedom to say that we can have and take and want, when freedom is at the basics: to breathe, to drink, and to wander. Wander about nature, wander about your environmental space that you're within. But do you see it? Do you appreciate it? Do you see that flower that you saw yesterday is no longer the same as it is today? But it's still in its perfectly imperfect state, yet in a state of perfection, because we can't create a flower. We can care for a flower. We don't have the power to magically say, you know what, here's a flower. It's something that is created by the divine. In fact, flowers and trees and herbs and the fungi were here before the first man, the first woman that walked this earth. They were the first lives. They still are the first lives and always will be for what's left of them. And while we don't really care for the earth, it's disappearing. The globe, the roundness of it is still there. But the flora and the fauna, that which is not ours, we don't have the right to destroy this. We don't have the right to have disrespect for it. But we'd rather chase after the almighty dollar, or maybe you're chasing after the almighty digital currency, thinking that you're going to be rich so that you have something to spend. But is it worth it at the end of the day? To work so many hours, to try and be perfect in your job and perfect for your bosses and perfect for the work that you're trying to do, to find out that it's not perfect. To find out that you're at the end of your day and you're exhausted and you're stressed and you're worried and you're filled with panic and anxiety and maybe fear. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's a choice that we make. You can engage upon the mind fuckery, fall into the dogmas and the stigmas and all of the hearsay and prophecies and beliefs, and the Christ is coming and the stars are going to descend upon us and save us. It's not so. The only ones that will save us is ourselves. Nobody's going to save us from the mind fuckery. You can only save yourself. Return to your source. Return to your heart. Return to the essence of understanding that as a human, you are perfectly imperfect. You can strive to be the philosophy of a God all that you want, but it's not going to happen. We have powers that when we tap into them can give us this essence of maybe we feel like a God, but we're not. In my world, there's one God. That's the God consciousness. And then there's the Christ consciousness. Not a religion, not a book, not a priest, and not a prayer. It's within my heart. It's within my spirit. It's within my soul. Because I fully believe we have souls. And some of us, well, no, we don't want to believe in souls. But we'll believe in a dollar. We'll believe in the work that we're doing. But we won't believe in a soul. Why? Why is it so hard to believe that you have a light within you that's connected to everything that's alive? It's connected to all of this that's around me and all of that that's around you. It's connected to the aves, the mammals, the animals. From the flora to the fauna, human or not, we are all connected by the essence of the light and the energy within us. And this vibration that we live within, and the vibrations that we create through our words, through our actions, through our responses, it's all a vibration. It's a vibration that when you connect into it, it raises higher and higher and higher if you allow it to. But for some of us, we push it down. We don't want to believe in the power of the heart. We don't want to believe in the power of the flower and the aroma and what it can do to make us feel more peaceful and more joyous. In my world, aroma is everything. Many of you who have met me in person know this. I work with some of the finest essential oils in the world, some that no longer exist. Antiquities, as I call them. Like a fine reserve that sits in a cave, a wine cave, and is used sparingly every once in a while for ceremonial uses. Oils that I know that change your entire perspective. Not your mass-made, consumer-driven, money-mongering, multi-level marketing bullshit. And yes, I'll call it out for what it is. There are essences that are created in this world by spiritual leaders, by loving peoples, by alchemists and shamans, and yeah, we can call them gurus if you want. Families that for generations have done it by passion and done it by love, not by the consumerism of the driven bullshit that's out there. There's a big difference between something that's created with a passion of love and something that is created for just the passion of money. When it's created with the passion of love, it's alive. It carries life. And when it's created with money, it carries greed. It promotes greed. And it's bought by greed in many ways. We've turned some of our lands into mass farms just to make money. I'm not talking about food productions. I'm talking about extracts that are just used for you to buy, that don't have life. In my world, they don't. They don't have a vibration. They don't feel like they should. But when I take something that I know has been created with passion and love, and I put it in my hand with anticipation of its smell, and then the moment that I smell it, it lights up my world. I feel more than alive. I feel its life. I hear its calling. The same as a child that calls out. The same as a bird that flies above, that sings its song. Or even the roar of a lion, or the bark of a dog, or the meow of a cat. It's all vibrations. The difference between that vibration and the vibration of humans is that the vibrations of humans is mostly aggressive, demeaning, judgmental, mindfuckery. And yet life around us is trying to show us all that we need to see. But we still don't see it. We would rather believe that something from the stars will save us. That something that will be born from the heavens will come down and save us. No. My perspective, of course. Do I believe in the power of the Christ? Yes, I do. Do I believe in the power of God? Yes, I do. Will He save me? No. He'll accept me for who I am, in my perfect imperfections. He'll let me be free to make my choices, to live by my mistakes, to own my errors, but also own my successes. I don't need for somebody to say, I've done a good job or I've done a good deed. I know in my heart that I have. I know that I'm worthy for what I've done, even if it was a mistake. And sometimes we just can't grasp that. We want to take the mistake of the other and dig into it, you know? We want to make you really see that you've done something wrong, and make you feel bad and push you down and make you feel low, and you're in this low vibration and you feel like somebody's pounding you like a jackhammer into the ground because you made a mistake. And yet you may have owned up to it and said, yes, I acknowledge I made a mistake, and I'm willing to correct it. But many of us, we don't want to hear that. We still want to be demeaning and derogatory and destroy you for the mistake that you made. This sickened ego that we carry, whether you're awakened or not. The only difference between being awakened is that now you're in spiritual ego rather than in ego of other. But do you need it? Some say, yes, I need my ego. No, not for me. And I won't debate it and I won't argue it. I know by example from what I live and how I walk and how I see. Just as I see you, even if you're on the other side of the world and I see just a post that you put out, or maybe you changed your profile picture. I watch everything. I may not engage in what you post, but I do see it. And I do have time to do other things. Believe me, I'm not on it 24 hours around the clock. But enough to skim through it to see what's happening in the morning, what's happening in noontime. Or maybe just a sporadic, turn it on and, oops, okay, somebody's gone off on the deep end again. It's nice. Well, no, that's not the way to say it. The acknowledgement to talk about all of what's going on that's negative, and the mindfuckery and the corruption and the greed and the controls and all of this, it's fine and dandy. You can talk about it all you want. You can post about it all you want. But what are you doing about it? Are you making the changes that you need to make in your own day-to-day lives? Or are you just harping and ranting and, you know, trying to get attention to show that there's a problem? Yet, what are you doing about it? Have you made changes? I made subtle changes. As an example, you don't find toilet paper in my house. So if you come visit me and you're looking for toilet paper, bring your own. And then I might tell you to check it at the door. Because honestly, you don't need it. I have a bidet. You'll sit on it and get a fresh spray of water and be squeaky clean. And some will say, well, I'm wet. No, you won't. You're actually kind of comfortable. Or you can wipe with your toxic-laden toilet paper and feel that it's clean, but yet it's really not. It's only smeared it and maybe left a little bit of a streak, versus the bidet has washed it clean and left no chemical residue from the paper that you just stuck up your rear end. That's a harsh truth, but that's the reality of it. If you were to analyze exactly what's in that toilet paper, you would see. You would see just how many chemicals are in it, whether it's made from organic papers or post-recycled, or it's made from hemp, or it's made from whatever other fiber. It still goes through a chemical process. And there is no one anywhere that can prove that there is not some residual chemical that is left in that paper. Send it to a laboratory, spend $500-700 and you'll see. You'll see the truth. So you can wipe with your TP all you want and leave chemicals around the rim, so to speak. Enough of toilet paper, okay? But there's other things as well. The foods that you buy, the source of the foods. Nowhere is anything in the media talking about healthy habits, healthy foods, healthy mindset. We'll talk about, the mind fuckery. We'll talk about, some corporation promoting mental health awareness. So it's fine and dandy to promote mental health awareness, but where's the solutions? Where are the options for you? Are they telling you how to speak with self? Are they telling you how to meditate? Are they telling you how to breathe? Are they telling you how to exercise? How do you grow your own foods? How to grow your own medicines? No. But they're pushing panic and fear. Then you go get a vax, or you go get some pharmaceutical solution that you think is a solution. And yet, is it? At the end of the day, is it? I broke my toe, and everybody says, go to the hospital. Why? I know it's broken. What are they going to do about it? Nothing. Put some tape around it and give me some painkillers and take x-rays and send me home. Maybe. I know how to look after what needs to be looked after. Is it painful? Sure it is. But it happened for a reason. Because my mind was elsewhere and I wasn't paying attention to being in the present moment. And because of it, the mistake was made. And I turned around and I kicked something wrongly, and it folded the toe beside the big toe almost in a 90 degrees in a twist. And I held my breath and I looked at it. I took a deep breath and looked at it again, and I said, oh fuck. So I needed to continue to do what I was doing. So I tried to straighten it out. So I pulled it and straightened it out and almost passed out. And believe me, I cried. Because it hurt. It truly did. So it's a little bit swollen, but it's straight. Somewhat. A reminder to be present. To be present, to be in the moment. To see where you are. That was the reminder. It was like, you know what? You're not paying attention. You're not in presence. Your mind was off wandering. And well, I'm going to let you know. So it did. And it slowed me down. But that's the whole aspect of finding truth in what is happening. Truth of where you are. Truth of the moment and the presence and what you're seeing. And are you grounded? A lot of people talk about grounding, but are you truly grounded? How are you grounding? What are you using? And the only aspect that you need to understand the ground is that the earth that you walk upon is the conduit of life. It's the womb of life. It allows you to breathe. It allows you to forage and find medicines and see flowers, and from the flora, the fauna, it's showing you life in the present moment as it evolves. That's showing you how to ground, to stay grounded. Even with all of the beliefs that you may have, you still need to be grounded. Do I want to be healed? I think I've done pretty good, but if you want to send healing energy to speed it up a little bit, by all means, okay? But I do quite well, and I'm quite stubborn. So, thank you for the offer. So, yes, by all means, I'll accept it with a great deal of humbleness and gratitude, and also love. It's part of it. You know, to be able to show appreciation for those that reach out and say something that is uplifting, an offer of healing energies and thoughts. Just the thought of the offer already raises the vibration. You know, the mind kicks in and says somebody from the other side of the world is willing to offer help, or a kind word, or a gesture, or an energy of healing. And to show gratitude for that and be in gratitude for it. It's humbling to be so. And to those that reach out and help others around the world, or help others that are within your world, you have a great power to do so. In fact, we all have that power. We all have the capacity to help heal another. All. Some will say, no, I don't. Well, yes, you do. You just got to reach deeper within to understand that this power of the heart connects you to all of these energy frequencies, this vibration of life. And as you connect to it with heart, you feel the warmth. So thank you for the warmth of the toe, because my toe is warming. See? Some will say that's hogwash. Well, okay. You believe what you want to believe. But I know how energy works. And I've used it in many, many different ways. Not proclaiming to be a healer. Just by offering the energy and the vibration, and just the thought alone is already sending this magical, mystical energy. Pure vibration. A vibration that can be felt on the other side of the world. So my toes vibing. Not hurting. Thank you. It's making me feel giddy too. See, now there's a beautiful side effect. Side effect of energy transference, not only to healing what needs to be healed physically, but the giddiness of the energy that's warming from within. It's warming of the heart. It's warming of the body. It's warming of the spirit. It's okay. Enough. It's like vibrations. I'm getting all blushy here. Okay. Most of the world would look at us and say we're lunatics. You know, we practice witchery and Satanism and all of that because we like crystals and rocks and essences of plants and the flora and the fauna, and some of us work with these elements, and we work with the belief of energy transference, and we can see things that others can't see. We can see colors and vibrations and frequencies because our mind is not focusing. It's our heart that is focusing and seeing. It's not the mind that is allowing you to see, it's the heart that is allowing you to see and feel. And when I reach out to others and they reach out in return, it's sometimes it's quite overwhelming. Very overwhelming. For a couple of words and a couple of minutes of our time, we've sent something that makes somebody feel wonderful. And so for all of you that are sending energy at the moment, my toe is extremely joyous. A toe, right? I wasn't going to come on tonight. You know, in fact, the whole week I've been sort of taking a little bit of stand back and just observing what's going on in the world in a way that I don't need to connect to the television. I can feel it and I can sense it. And today I had a very beautiful friend that dropped over that I hadn't seen in a couple of months as a surprise. And he showed up with a bottle of wine. And if you saw the post that I put in my storyline, he's actually a doctor. And we talked a great deal about what's going on in the world, his perspective, and we talked a lot about, you know, the discriminations and the protests and the movements. And he shared his stories once again. A man that understands discrimination from his own peoples. And maybe I'll have him on one night and he can tell his story. Because it's a beautiful story to see that after everything that he's gone through, how he still reaches out regardless of color, creed, or language to help another, even at the sacrifice of self. And he's going to be 81 years old. And he's a beautiful human being. And a man that I'm privileged to call not just a friend, but a brother. And as he calls me, a brother as well. And we laugh about it. And we sat here, where I am right now, and enjoyed a bottle of wine. It was a good bottle of wine. I don't know if it helped with the toe, but it was a good bottle of wine. But it wasn't so much as the wine. It was the connection with a beautiful human being. To be able to share in story, even tears. And we had a few moments of tears. In fact, we had quite a few moments of tears. Two grown men, one 60 years old and the other one soon to be 81, sitting over a bottle of wine and shedding and sharing tears. It's moments like that that make you realize just how fortunate you are to have friends, to have those that are there not because they need something, not because they want something, but because they want to share with you just the space. And that's what it was. And as you connect with me here, it's the same thing in many ways. You may not be physically here, but your spiritual energy, your essence, your vibration is here. Okay? Because I can feel it. And some might not want to believe in that, and that's fine. And some will say, well, Gary, you're talking out of your hat. Well, that's fine. So I'm talking out of my hat. It's my hat. And I own it. And it's what I believe in. And I keep myself grounded to earth. I don't run off into the rabbit holes. I don't run off into the stories. I don't run off into all of the negativism. I acknowledge it. I'm well aware of what's going on in Afghanistan. I'm well aware of what's going on in all the countries, the lockdowns, the forced vaccinations, the masks, and all of the corruption and the greed and everything else that's going on. But it's not a focus. It's only the acknowledgement. I'm aware. It means I see it. I see the truth of it. Now what am I going to do? I choose to smile. One off. I choose to greet people in love and acceptance, regardless of their color, their creed, their walk of life, or their belief. They're a human being. A true human being. I will. Yes, water is very, very important, especially after wine. Because now I got to double it up. And it helps with the healing of the break. It'll be okay. I just walk delicately and make sure I don't hit it. Or turn in my sleep because it wakes me up. Boom. Oh, I'm alive. That's a good thing, right? And thank you, Lupita. Thank you for the beautiful healing energy that you sent. And we'll see you soon. Maybe still see each other in the cosmos afterwards. Everything's possible, right? I won't be on for too long tonight. There's good reason. But I just came on to want to share some uplifting vibrations and uplifting energies, and to say, believe things are going to get better. We might have to go through a shitstorm, but things will get better if you believe. If you don't believe, nothing I can do about that. I can't force you to believe either. But I can tell you, if you believe, little by little, things will get better. The more optimistic you remain, rather than pessimistic. Stay optimistic. Believe that optimism will cure, that optimism will bring you good people, will bring you good things in due time. But you still have to go through the process of the understanding of what's going on in your presence. What have you chosen to engage upon or engage with? Have you chosen based upon truth, or have you been forced to choose? It remains your choice. So choose to engage or disengage, because nobody can force you to do anything against your will if you truly believe in the power that you have with your willpower. Because if you're as stubborn as I am, try and force me to do something that I don't want to do. Try and force me to believe in something that I know is not a truth. Try and manipulate me to change me. Good luck. Doesn't belong to me. What belongs to me, what belongs to you, is that you are worthy of being a kind, generous, loving human being with self. First, with self. Because if you're not with that with self, you will not be able to be with that with another. You need to be kind to yourself. You need to be loving to yourself. You need to be respectful to yourself. You need to be generous to yourself. And that doesn't mean go out and buy a bunch of things. Okay? Generosity is, you know what? Show yourself some kindness. Kindness is part generosity. If you're kind to yourself, you're being generous to yourself. If you acknowledge that you've done something good, you're being generous to yourself. Do you need somebody to say you did something good? Truly? It's nice to hear. Yes, it's an acknowledgement. But the greatest power that you get is self-acknowledgement. You know if you've done good work or not. You know if you've done a good deed or not. You know if you're having good thoughts or not. Which do you choose? Yesterday's story? Do you want to stay in yesterday's story? Do you want to stay in the errors of yesterday? Do you want to stay in the histories? Do you want to stay in the negativity and the atrocities of everything that's happened yesterday? Or do you want to be in the moment where you can make a better decision now? And then move forward, one step at a time. Don't try and jump 50 steps forward. Don't try and run. One step at a time. One breath at a time. Each breath is a new story. Each exhale is an end of a story. Can you take it back? Do you want to take it back? If you exhale, you keep on taking back everything that you exhale, you're going to suffocate. So are you suffocating? With your stories of yesterdays? With your traumas and your trivials and your trials? Acknowledge them. Yes. The memory of them are there. Can you change it? No. but you can learn from it. You can learn from everything that has happened up to right now, in this very instance. In fact, just as the second just went by, you can learn right up to that moment to make a better choice. To choose with heart. To choose with acceptance. To choose even with surrender. You know, if you surrender, doesn't mean you lose. No, you surrender so that you can choose a better, clearer path. It's a choice. It's not something that's forced upon you. I sat here with Carlisle, and as we talked about our childhoods, we talked about our mothers and, you know, the hardships that we went through. We both grew up with the only thing that we had was food that was either grown or parents that worked extremely hard. We didn't have silver spoons in our mouth. And we ate things sometimes I won't even eat today. But it was food. We learned that to have appreciation for what was on the table. Whether we liked it or not, that's what we ate. Because if not, we went to bed hungry. And sometimes we would wake up in the morning and that's what was for breakfast. And it wasn't rewarmed. It was still sitting on the plate. So you either ate it, or one way or another you went hungry. Because there was no wastage. In my 50, 60 years, and in his almost 80 years, this is the stories that we were talking about. And in today's generation, it's a throwaway society. Relationships are throwaways. Food is throwaway. Your electronics is throwaway. It's been so much turned into a throwaway society that we throw people away. We throw responsibilities away. We throw what we think is love, and it's not. Because we don't even know how to love self. And that's a harsh truth. Because the love of self takes a lot of work. It truly does. The ability to look at yourself in the mirror. Have you? Have you truly looked at yourself in the mirror and opened your eyes and said, I love myself. I acknowledge myself. I accept myself. I am worthy. I am magnificent. And that's not ego. And anybody that says that's ego, then you don't understand. Because that is self-respect. That is owning up to who you are as a person. And acknowledging that you don't need anybody to tell you you're worthy. You need to be able to see it yourself for self. And because when you see it for self, nobody can take it away from you. And anybody that acknowledges that you're worthy is a plus. Anybody that tries to take it away from you can't, because you have acknowledged that you are worthy with self. That is self-empowerment. That is the core of self-empowerment. To acknowledge that you are worthy. Not worthy of another, not worthy for another, but worthy of self. To love yourself, not hate yourself, not search your imperfections. Oh, you got a line, I gotta go get a Botox shot. Oh, my lips aren't plump enough, I gotta go get them plumped up. My pecs aren't peck enough, so I gotta get them boosted up. Or use some fancy filters and media and photo manipulation to wear a mask. Because you're not even being true. Imagine, you know, the image that some portray, and it's looks like it's perfect, and then you go have a coffee with them and you go like, look at their profile, look at them having a coffee, look at their profile again. So you say, there's something that doesn't match up here. How come you got that line and on the profile it shows you don't? Did you erase that line? Did you use a fancy beautifying filter to make yourself look more beautiful and younger? Or more physically fit? Pure mindfuckery. Misconception and misleading and mistruths. fakery in all different directions. For what reason? What gain? To have more followers? Doesn't make a difference. What makes a difference is that if you've reached out in truth and somebody has smiled because of your truth, then you've done something that is good. You've done something that is kind. You've been generous with self and generous towards another. It's not hard. In fact, it's a lot easier than it is to turn around and decimate and be demeaning and degrading to another, even if they made a mistake. It's not the mistake that it's important. It's how you own up to that mistake. Do you try to negate it and debate it and say you didn't do it? Or do you own it and say, yes, I did make a mistake. Thank you for acknowledging that I made a mistake. End of story. Now what are we going to do to fix it? Can I fix it? And if you offer to fix it, why is you still arguing about it? Good night, Susan. We'll see you again real soon. So, for Thursday night, let me leave you with this thought. Life is simple. It's not as complicated as you believe it to be. Life is living in frequent evolution. And love, it's letting others voluntarily evolve, including self. Let yourself voluntarily evolve. Be who you are. Look into the mirror. See the magnificent human being you are. Not the mindfuckery that is being programmed and pushed upon you. Not the obligations that are forcing you to be somebody who you're not. Look at yourself in the mirror. Stand strong with you. Love yourself because you deserve it. Don't wait for somebody to say, I love you. Start loving yourself first. And you'll see it's beautiful. Because there's no expectations. You just love self. So for tonight, look in the mirror, or your morning, look in the mirror and try it. Marry yourself. Okay? Marry yourself. And know that you're worthy and that you're a beautiful human being that is perfectly imperfect. Because if you're perfect, truly are, then maybe I'll kneel before you and say I've acknowledged you're God. But it's not going to happen. That I can guarantee you. So for tonight, peace be with you, love within you, smiles to wherever you are in the world, hugs to wherever and whoever needs them. And for tonight, that's enough. Okay? So, namaste. Lots of love. Peace be with you.